Good evening and thanks for joining us. Well, as we saw in the headline there, a familiar face behind the bench is moving on from the Bobcats.
Yes, very much so, but you know, they're certainly by no means is Cole leaving on bad terms. It's just another opportunity. So as much as the Bobcats are going to miss him, I know that they wish him all the best in his new endeavors for sure.
Sounds good. We'll have more on that later in sports. And Shauna, not the greatest weekend around the border city. I was in Edmonton, but I imagine the border city was probably similar weather.
It was very cool and damp conditions, but now as we take a look across the Midwest region and the border city, we're sitting at 16 degrees, so it is still quite chilly, below seasonal temperatures. And how does that compare to the Lakeland and the Battlefords? A little warmer there, but under a lot of cloud cover. So Colonial Days is going to be here on Wednesday. What is that going to look like? I will have all your details coming up a little later on.
Lloydminster RCMP are still searching for a man on a Canada-wide warrant. 28-year-old William John Lewis is wanted for breaching his armed robbery parole conditions. Police do not recommend you approach or attempt to apprehend this man, but rather contact the RCMP instead. If you have any information about the location of William Lewis, please inform the Lloydminster Detachment or call Crime Stoppers. Over 2 years of contract negotiations between a couple of major Saskatchewan health organizations appears to be at an end. Here are the details as to why the opposing sides are now seeing eye to eye. Just over a month ago, SAHO submitted their final offer to SHAS, and after some number crunching, the two sides look to be on the same page.
We've said all along that we believe the best collective agreements are ones that are negotiated between the two parties, and so that's what we've been able to achieve with this round of bargaining.
HSAS has stopped their rotating strike action that has been taking place for months. This is a positive sign for SAHO and the people of Saskatchewan.
Well, I think it provides at least some stability in that they know when they go to their appointments now that there are those appointments won't be impacted by strike action.
The collective agreement will see members of HSAS receive wage increases retroactive to April 1st of 2009.
We were pleased that it's finally come to a conclusion, and looking forward to taking it out for ratification with our members, and HSAS will be taking it to their members as well, so we're looking forward to concluding the process.
It's likely the agreement won't be official until August. Alberta police are encouraging the province to make it mandatory to pay at the pump. Every day, calls are being taken by local RCMP about gas theft. Mike Baden explains that if the whole border city began to prepay, police would see the crime rate slow down.
Mohammed Katani says that drive-aways are a daily occurrence at his gas station.
We have a lot of drive-aways, especially in these days. Almost, I would say, if not every day, every second day for sure.
Paying at the pump is a way to stop many of these incidences from happening.
There will be times that it happens, but it sure will alleviate a lot of the issues that we're having. Just because the fuel is going to have to be paid for beforehand. And it'll, you know, they have access to a certain amount of money in their account, so whatever funds they have, they're able to fill up with that amount.
Paying at the pump is a good way to get rid of drive-aways, but it can also cause gas stations to lose business.
I don't want prepay, because prepay is not a good idea actually, because there is people get mad and we lose business too if we do have a prepay, but we have no choice.
But police say if every gas station started to enforce this, the problem could be solved.
If all the gas stations in Lloydminster were to implement it, they wouldn't be playing favoritism to one gas station or the other because they didn't like the service. If everybody did the same, had the same procedures, then it wouldn't matter where you went.
British Columbia was the first Canadian province to enforce the law in 2008. Mike Baden, Newcap News.
As the peak season for mosquitoes arrives, North Battleford is ready for their attack. City officials are full force into their larvicide program, which aims to kill off mosquitoes during the larvae stage. Kathy Lee has an update on how the program is working so far.
With the relentless mosquitoes invading our province every summer, the city of North Battleford tries to combat them the first chance they get.
As soon as the ice basically starts melting in the spring, we start dipping those standing water areas with a little larvicide net and do a larva count. As soon as the counts are significant, then we start treating.
Their larvicide program has been in effect since the 90s and is done once a week in and around the city.
If I find them, what I will do is broadcast a larvicide on top of the water, and what that does is disintegrates and puts a layer of film on top of the water, which the larvae cannot breathe through, and it kills them off.
The city has done fogging before, which kills the mosquitoes during their adult stage, but they found larviciding works better.
It kills the larva before they develop into the biting adult, so it's a good life stage to eliminate that pest.
I've gone and done a mosquito larvae check the one day and broadcasted, and I've checked the next day and not found one. So we're killing off a lot of mosquitoes. So I think that if this had stopped, you would see a big difference.
You can't tell by looking at the water behind me, but this area has been treated already. The larvicide agent turns into a clear film and won't harm the environment or wildlife. The program continues throughout the summer and will stop once the water freezes. In North Battleford, Kathy Lee, Newcap News.
Days brings quite a bit of excitement to the border city, but that's not all the event has to offer. We have the details on that story coming up after the break.